Good afternoon. It was so nice working with you in our initial training, our 3-day initial training for KLIP, and we look forward to working with you in the future. This is the first in the series of our webinars, and in our webinars, we're going to cover various topics. During the first KLIP, or during our initial training, Jared covered some of the things that are going to take place during our first year of professional learning with KLIP. And in this video, in this webinar, I hope to cover those a little more in depth, and you will have a chance to ask questions regarding KLIP for this first year. And you will see, if you have a question, please email April Pieper, and we will try to answer those questions during this webinar. Before we get started with the things that are going to take place in the upcoming year, we have a few strategies in action to share. We thought that would be nice to share some specific examples of content area strategies. And so we were fortunate that Carter County sent us some videos of strategies in action in their district, and so we're going to share a few of those with you.
Hi, my name is Michelle Miller. I teach 8th grade language arts at East Carter Middle
In our
School,
first video, Michelle Miller, who teaches 8th grade language arts at East Carter Middle School in Carter County, she attended the KLIP training in July, and she really liked the foundations of comprehension. One of her favorite comprehension strategies is on-the-go written discussion. Michelle's students were completing on-the-go written discussion during this video. Her students have read Flowers for Algernon and were answering open-ended questions about altering the human body with technology. The wrap-up portion of the lesson included talking stems to engage students in rich discussion. We're going to take a peek into Michelle's classroom and see this taking place.
Hi, my name is Michelle Miller. I teach 8th grade language arts at East Carter Middle School, and I attended the KLIP training this summer. One of my takeaways from the training was foundations of comprehension. One of my favorite comprehension activities to do with my students is called on-the-go written discussion. My students have already been given instructions on this as they've done it previous times, so you're about to see them in action.
At this point, students are working on their written discussion using one of the prompts here. At this point, students are moving to their next station. Here, they will read other student responses, and they will construct responses of their own, commenting on other students' responses. At this point, groups are discussing.
Alright, so the statement was technology should not be used to improve people physically or mentally, and I said I believe that it is okay if it is done for a good reason. And in the story, Charlie has a surgery done that improves his smartness, and now he's smarter than he originally was, which is an example of why it could be good. But in another sense, I think that it could be bad because it could alter some stuff that you really didn't want to be altered.
Let me add to what we've been discussing. To add to what Harley said, I agree with him, because I think that technology can be used for good to improve things that need to be improved, but it also can be used to an extreme.
I agree completely. It could be useful, but if they mess something up or something like that, it can just kind of like, oops.
Yeah, I agree with Harley completely as well, because if you use technology to fix something, it can usually be fixed, but there's like a really small chance that it might mess up.
My name is Jeffrey Huffman. I am a geometry.
One of our sessions at KLIP was Literacy-Rich Classroom Environment. Jeff Huffman teaches math at West Carter High School. Jeff was enthusiastic about sharing his literacy-rich classroom with you. Jeff highlights his word wall in the beginning of this video. His word wall is a phenomenal way for math teachers to really utilize the word wall space. His wall has concrete examples of angles. In addition to his word wall, Jeff highlights a Freyer model he used while teaching shapes like squares, hexagon, and octagon. He explains when his students completed their Freyer models, they actually had to go outside and find and snap a picture with their shapes. It was a hands-on and engaging way to embed vocabulary in the math classroom. Jeff goes on to highlight his posters for use, his PACE and guided notes. Jeff's PACE, a district initiative, is made up of his purpose for reading, his accountability for the day, and how the activity is congruent, and how his students will be engaged. Students are always immersed in a print-rich environment in Jeff's classroom. Let's watch this example of a literacy-rich environment.
My name is Jeffrey Huffman. I am a geometry and trigonometry teacher at West Carter High School. And this year, Carter County received a grant that asks us to involve literacy in all of our core content areas. And as you can see here, I've got a board that is subject-based. It is about our geometry course. And it takes into account all of the critical vocabulary that they're going to be using throughout the entire year. I keep this board up all year long because I want them to be able to come up and to look at it one more time as a review, or if they just are having a problem that involves angles or lines such as parallel lines, perpendicular lines, they can always come back to this board and look at it. So I really wanted them to be able to use it. You even see that we have a reminder of horizontal and vertical for them because, you know, as sophomores and they're just coming out of Algebra 1, in geometry it's very abstract, so we go back and try to remind them of those concrete ideas. The activity that I'm getting ready to show you right now was an opening activity for the beginning of school. It was an introductory activity for geometry and trigonometry, and it involved key vocabulary words. What I asked the students to do was I assigned them a vocabulary word, and then they were asked to do a Freyer model type definition that involved the definition or characteristics, a picture, an example, and a non-example. But in addition to that, they were asked to go to the football field and find their word. So this is some of the samples that we have that were really exemplary. I also like to make sure that my room is ready for students to also be able to read a lot about geometry. In this poster right here, you can see there's some historical value, but also at the same time, it is showing representations of what we do when we use the Pythagorean theorem. Not only does it show it represented for mathematical standpoints, but it also has that verbal cue also. And one of our last county initiatives is our usage of PACE in all of our classes. And you can see I do keep PACE posted in my geometry class and also my trig class. But I also keep my I can statements and an agenda posted for them also. And that is recorded on their daily bell worksheet. One of the other strategies that I use in my classroom is a note-taking sheet. And what it allows me to do is I ask the students to always record what I do on the board, then what we work as a class, and then their assignment from the agenda. The way they always have that with them. And I like the idea of it because also on the other sheet is a section for them to take notes. So everything that we cover in one class is actually condensed on one page. And that seems to work really well for the students.
And relax.
And in our third video, we have Tina Lyles, who teaches 6th grade language arts at West Carter Middle School. During District Academies, Tina's school district leadership team shared the strategy of a Think Aloud from the Foundations of Comprehension section of the KLIP training. Tina's class is reading an informational text about sea life. The class began with a 4 corners activity, a vocabulary review using 7-up sentences, and a discussion of the daily learning intentions. During the lesson, Tina models a Think Aloud for her students. Students have been provided with an anticipation guide as their accountability piece to ensure understanding of the purpose for reading. Tina follows up with the anticipation guide after the Think Aloud modeling.
And relax. You're getting ready to see inside of my brain, into the deep, dark recesses of my brain. I do, for this part, want your eyes up here. I know you're busy numbering and recounting. It'll be okay. So, the title is Puget Sound's Wells Face Intertwined Obstacles. Obstacle. That's like something you have to climb over. The killer whales in Puget Sound face a lot of dangers. What? What a killer whale face danger? They kill stuff. My brain. The whales became protected a decade ago. These whales have been protected almost as old as you are. Since then, scientists have figured out where they go in winter, and they've documented how these majestic mammals change their behavior in response to noise from passing boats. That is smart. Change your behavior? Wow. Because you hear a noise? They've learned that these whales can tell a Chinook salmon from a sockeye salmon. Okay, what is a Chinook salmon or a sockeye salmon? I thought salmon was salmon. My mom makes salmon patties. I have no idea that there's a Chinook or a sockeye. And how can they tell? They use sonar to detect small differences in swim bladders. Really? Sonar? Doesn't the military use sonar? Jets? Planes? Sonar. Oh, to detect. So sonar helps us to detect things. And whales have it too? I thought it was just like a laser. Small differences in the swim bladders. Okay, people, I have a bladder, but I don't think it's a swim bladder. So something is different in the salmon, the Chinook and the sockeye. Ooh, these whales are smart. They change their behavior. They detect differences in salmon when I just thought salmon was salmon. Yet despite the vast rise in knowledge since killer whales were listed under the Endangered Species Act, whoa, Endangered Species Act, they're protected. The killer whale population still is not growing according to this site, New Zealand. According to a new research on the whales, the research was carried on by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. So a really major, important group has done research on these killer whales. Wow, killer whales? They're endangered? But they kill stuff. Oh, you know what? When I was a kid, I went to SeaWorld, and I saw this whale named Shamu, and he was in this small pool. Did you know he could jump up in the air high and touch stuff, then come down and splash it? So how could they be going extinct? Puget Sound. Well, where's Puget Sound? All right, so that's my think aloud. You all just got to see inside my brain as I read. Now, when I read, it's fast. It's fast. The connections. But I went slow so that you all could see how I connect to what I'm reading. Anticipation guide helps us connect to what we're reading. You've already heard, if you look at section 1, killer whales are an endangered species. I've read that. Do you agree or disagree now?
I agree.
Agree. Thank you, Reagan. So in the after column, you would check mark.
We really appreciate Carter County's willingness to share some of their strategies in action with us. We would like to talk about our follow-up training. Our follow-up training takes place August 15th, 16th, or 17th. You would choose one of those dates. We have actually filled up for October 15th, 16th, or 17th. We have filled up for October 15th. Registration became active on Friday, August 13th, and many of you were able to go ahead and get registered. Those registered received an email from Google Classroom, and they registered in that fashion. Only one person from your school or district will register you, and they will register you as a team for a certain day. As I said earlier, October 15th has been filled, so we closed registration for that day. You can still register for October 16th or 17th. Our topics for that day will be motivation and engagement, vertical alignment. We'll be doing some data analysis, and you were asked to bring some of your data with you. And we will also do 60, 90, and 120 day planning. Regarding our book study, as you all know, the title of our book is Note and Notice by Kylene Beers and Robert Prost. And we talked about how you could order that book, and the best way to order that book is on Amazon. We are going to be doing the book in 3 parts. One part of your book study will take place in October, one in December, and one in February. They are broken down. You will do part 1 in October, and that each of these parts are basically 40 to 60 pages that you'll be reading for that time. And the book study, we have a video study guide. The link is on here, but that link is also in the Google Classroom. It was sent out to you in that fashion last week, and if for some reason you did not receive that, please let us know. As you know, we will have a monthly PLC, and your PLC will be sent to you the first of each month. The PLC was sent to you last Friday. The link for the PLC was sent to you last Friday. We'll have one each month except in December. These will begin in September and end in April. Each PLC meeting should be approximately an hour in duration. And the link to submit your information, as I said earlier, would be sent to you at the first of each month. And in this situation for the PLC, only the district or school lead will submit the information for the PLC. The first PLC you will take place in, your school will be working with their 30, 60, 90-day plan. There is a template for the 30, 60, 90-day plan in the Google Drive. If your school has another one that they're already using and they wish to use that one instead, that would be fine. Regarding the Google Classroom assignment, you'll have one assignment due monthly. A link will be sent at the first of each month, and that went out today actually. It'll be due on the 30th of each month except for February. September's assignment is to share a strategy you have implemented that was demonstrated during your KLIP training. And today I had someone ask, they said that they were a special education counselor, and they said that they could not implement the strategies in their classroom. So if you can share the strategy with another teacher in your building and talk to them about how they might use it in their classroom, then you could just tell us how you shared the strategy in that way. Unlike the PLC, where the district or school lead submits the information for the school, each individual will submit the information for the Google Classroom as well as the book study we were just discussing. And before October 30th, we would like for you to share at least 3 of these modules with your staff. The Foundations of Reading, the Foundations of Vocabulary, the Foundations of Writing, Teaching Grammar and Context, or UDL-CRT. These are the different modules that we shared with you at KLIP, and you don't have to share all the modules if you just share some of the strategies or some portion of 3 of these before October 30th. That would be great. Does anyone have any questions? If you have these questions, please email them to April, and we will try to answer them to the best of our ability. And for those of you who have registered for the follow-up days, we will be sending out confirmations in the next week, just so you can make sure that you're registered for the day to which you had wished to register. No questions at this time? Okay, we have one more video of a strategy in action from Carter County that we will share. And in this video, Samantha Conant, who teaches English at West Carter High School in Carter County, she attended the KLIP training, and she took away a strategy from the Foundations of Vocabulary. She liked the tabletop Twitter. Her sophomore class modeled the use of tabletop Twitter in her classroom using vocabulary words. The students rotated in groups and were kept on task through her use of classroom timer tools. Students loved their acted out station. Let's watch Samantha's video.
Hello, my name is Samantha Conant. I work at West Carter High School, and over the summer I attended the KLIP conference, and one of my biggest takeaways was some of the foundations of vocabulary that they had. So today what you're about to see is a tabletop Twitter, which is one of the activities that we found out about at KLIP. Yesterday we did a rivet, so the kids have been introduced to the vocabulary, and this day we're going to work on the application of that vocabulary.
How many are we supposed to do?
Alright guys, this one's going to be a little bit more difficult, but I'm only going to give you 30 seconds. Switch to the next poster, and you need to summarize that in one word. Alright.
One word, guys.
Switch, and your next thing you need to do is list synonyms. Alright, so you're going to have 30 seconds. List the synonyms for this word. What's a synonym? Anybody? Words that are the same. Alright, go ahead and come up with your synonyms.
Oh, that's normal.
Some of these words may overlap, guys. That's okay.
No, it's in. Yeah. All time man words that they say.
Alright, guys, whenever you get switched, hang on just a second here. Alright. Antonyms, yes.
Oh, wait, use a word.
Yeah, so you're gonna make sure you get like the context and understand what you mean. Like she was such a rich today because and then it explains like what was your event there, you were made her happy. She was such a rich today because she called her mom this morning.
Wow.
Do not lay on the desk. Eric, put your hands up how you have before. There you go. Alright guys, this is your last station. This is your last station, and at this station you need to come up with a hashtag. Alright?
I don't know, but
remember how I said that we should have been changed?
Okay, why?
Violation of the law.
Alright, you violated the law, you go to prison. Who had indivisible? Who drew the picture for indivisible?
once again like to thank Carter County for sharing examples of strategies in action with us. If any of the other districts have videos that they would like to share with us, we would really appreciate that, and we'd be glad to share them in future webinars. If anybody has any questions that they were not able to email us today and ask, we don't have any questions at this time to answer. Please email me, Pam Winiger Carter, at pamela.winiger, WININGER, at education.ky.gov, or April Pieper at april.pieper at education.ky.gov, and we will be glad to answer any questions you have for us. Thanks, and have a great afternoon.